just so good to see all of you here. Thank you so much. It means the world to my family and me. To everything, there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to keep and a time to cast away. Ecclesiastes 3. We are gathered here today in the memory of our mother, Friar Rustigan, so that together we may acknowledge and share the gift that her life was to us. In sharing this, may we lessen the pain and remember more clearly the joy. Our mom was a homemaker in the truest sense of the word. Her life was wrapped around taking care of us and our home. Pleasure was achieved by planning and serving wonderful meals with our large family gatherings. The more you ate, the more she was pleased. The kitchen belonged to her. It was her domain. I remember hearing many times growing up, if you are not going to help, get out of the kitchen. And if I could, I got out. She was amazing in what she could put together. It was a gift. I would tell her often, but the acknowledgement of this was not easy for her. With a wave of her hand, she would dismiss the compliment. Our mother's second love was the game of golf. She just couldn't play often enough. Intense heat, winter's tule fog, and even a light rain would never keep her away. She won tournaments and even achieved a hole-in-one after playing for only 18 months. It was terrific that she and Dad could share this together. I called Mom Sassy Pants, which would always get a rise from her. I believe she knew why. She earned this title quite honestly. She was fiercely independent, never, ever lacked for an opinion, and always stood up for the underdog. Mom's Sassy Pants title was never more evident than when she wanted to return an item to the store. This was in the days when returning something was much more difficult than it is today. When I went with Mom to make a return, I knew what was going to happen, so I literally hid out of sight in the store. After several minutes of intense dialogue with the clerk, Mom would walk away triumphantly and look at me like, what? A cherished memory is Mom's love for dogs. However, it was not until Dale brought home a little dachshund that her love for dogs was truly apparent. She adored Winnie. After Winnie came Pookie, a black Labrador mix. Pookie and Mom did not see eye to eye. Perhaps he was just too big, or maybe there was a top dog kind of thing happening. Pookie knew he was not favored, and so he let Mom know of this disapproval by hiding behind the drinking fountain. And when Mom took the garbage to the alley, Pookie would come running out from behind the fountain, push her from the back, and the garbage went flying all over the lawn. And I can tell you, she was not happy. Then there came Augie, another true canine pal, and finally Buddy. The one thing all of these dogs had in common was their very gentle demeanor, as Mom saw it. Yeah. The rest of us saw reality. Mom was never on the receiving end of bites. However, Many of the rest of us in the family were. Whether they bit you under the dinner table or hung onto your pant leg, this was simply dismissed as, oh, he wouldn't do that, or he likes you. Whether you were a child or an adult, it didn't matter. The dogs were always right. In August of 2007, Mom came to live in the villages in San Luis Obispo. She left the city she lived in all of her life, sold her home, and began a new adventure at the age of 90. She surprised us all. Here she showed us a side we hadn't seen before. She blossomed. She made deep, committed friendships, participated in parties, played games, and went to dances. She was happy. She loved to read and would spend hours enjoying a good book. She loved her apartment and the freedom that it afforded her. We never missed Senior Day Tuesday at Gottschalk's, where we would shop for hours, and yes, there were still returns. Mom spent 7 years enjoying her new life, and as time moved on, we would have many conversations about life and the inevitable. She shared many stories of her growing up years spending time in Nani's kitchen. She adored her mother. She called her an angel. No argument there. We would laugh. She could always make me laugh with her spontaneous critique of the moment. Sometimes words were not even needed. If I was taking her to the dining room for a meal, she would eye something, and I knew what she was thinking. In what seemed to be a time warp, I was hiding in that department store again. So, hoping that Sassy Pants wouldn't say anything out loud about what she was thinking. As time got close, and she began to show signs of being ready to move on, I told her what Dale and I had planned, and she looked at me and said, I wish I could be there. That sounds like fun. To say I have missed her and will continue to miss her is, of course, an understatement. She could stand her ground with the best of them, and I have no doubt that as she entered into the pearly gates, she did so with questions and opinions. As Winston Churchill once said, I am ready to meet my maker. Whether my maker is prepared for the great ordeal of meeting me is another matter. What we experience is a cycle of which we don't truly understand until we reach an age where life begins to make a little more sense than it ever did before. Sir Elton John, in his lyrics from The Lion King, writes, it's the circle of life, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and love, till we find our place on the unwinding path. In closing, I would like to share a poem from Mary Elizabeth Fry. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the sweet uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Thank you so much for sharing in this experience today. And I would like to say one more thank you, and that is to my husband, VL, who has stood by me for almost 8 years in giving my mom all that she could have ever hoped for, and being my rock and support system these last 6 months that were really rather challenging and difficult. I love you, babe. Thank you.